midnight again. I've been lying in my bed. Can't get you out of my head. You've been taking me for a spin. Ain't got the time. I've been chasing you around, chasing you around. I've been waiting right behind. Ain't got the peace of mind. Gotta know that I've been chasing you around, chasing you around. It's midnight again. I've been lying in my bed. Ain't got no time. Ain't got no love. Gotta make you understand. I ain't got no time to spend. Why won't you just take my hand? Ain't got the time. I've been chasing you around, chasing you around. I've been waiting right behind. Ain't got the peace of mind. Gotta know that you will be mine. Tell me where I stand. I keep on losing this game. Some things will never change. I keep on playing fair. Can't get you out my head. You've taken me for a spin. Gotta make you understand. I ain't got no time to spend. Why won't you just
Hey everybody, how's everybody doing today? Is everybody doing all right?
Yeah, I've been chasing you around, chasing you around.
Is everybody doing okay? I hope everyone is doing a-okay. Is everybody doing well? How's everybody doing? Good evening, Tiffany Neems. Good to see you. Liam Neems, good to see you again. Welcome back. Myri Neem, as always, it's good to see you. I don't know. I don't think they have an expression for that. You realize. Yeah, I had the camera and the mic off for the first few minutes. My voice is too small? Really? Is it too small? Sorry, name, funky name. It's been a while. Have you been? It's small, really? It's pretty loud, right? It's you can hear me pretty well, right? I don't know why it got all tangled up like that. I mean, it's not tangled. It's just, I don't know. It's all wrinkly, right? I don't know why it's like that. What does it say on your hat? I don't know. Oh, I think it says new era. I never really wondered what it said. I think it says new era. I think that's what it says. Yeah, I think it says new era. I think it says new era. So how's everybody doing tonight? Is everybody doing well? CL name. Hello, it's good to see you. How's it going? How is it going? 세모자 안에 뭐 숨겨두신 것 같아요. This is a song I asked about. Oh, yeah, it's called Mon Amour. I don't even know how to read it. It's not English. It's called Mon Amour. And that's the title of the song. And the name of the artist, I do not know. Wait, hold on a second. Let me see if I can get some info on this thing. Let me see if I can find it. Mon Amour, Mon Amour, Mon Amour, Mon Amour. Huh? Oh. The only it's the only information I have on the artist is I don't even know how to read this. It says Audley or Odali. I don't really know. Agree name. Hey Kikini, it's been a while. We haven't seen you in the chat in quite some time. Yeah, the brand name. I'm doing okay. I'm a little nervous about Amber's surgery tomorrow. Amber is having surgery tomorrow. And it's gonna, I think she's gonna be over there all day because they're going to take her in. We've agreed to take her there at around 10:30 in the morning, and they're going to start giving her some sort of intravenous drugs, something that'll, I don't know, as a preparation for the surgery. And she's actually going into surgery around 3 in the afternoon. And so, I mean, just with that, that's a pretty long time gap, right? And so I don't really know what I'm going to be doing during that time. And they told me that her surgery will likely end around 6, so she'll be coming back home around 7, I guess. And so I'm kind of, I'm a little bit nervous about that because it's not like she hasn't had any surgeries before, but this is a kind of a big one. So, yeah. So I'm a little worried about that right now, but we'll see how it goes. Do you cut your hair yourself? Yes, I do. Yeah. And my nails, and my toenails, and my hair. I do a lot of things for myself. Yeah. So, how about you? Do you cut your hair yourself too? This is what I call live stream. Yeah, Amber. Yeah, well, she recently had a CT scan done, and I think that's like, as far as scans and tests go, it's one of the biggest scans that you can do. And I mean, if you're trying to find something, then the CT scans are the ones that you want to do. And we found out that she really doesn't have any big issues inside of her body. And so that's great. That was great news. And they actually told us that she's actually quite healthy for her age. So that was another very good news. So the surgery is mainly because of some things on her skin. Yeah. So it's not like a life-threatening thing. So yeah, me too. I'm really hoping the surgery goes well. Cutting myself is quite fun. It's kind of a hassle, to be honest, but it's much more of a hassle if you actually have to go somewhere and pay someone to do something that you can easily do yourself. Obviously, it's not for everybody. Some of you guys have a lot more complicated hairstyles, so I mean, it's so easy to do this. So don't worry too much; everything will be fine. That's what I'm assuming. I mean, I doubt that there's going to be any big issues or problems, but still. You never know, right? So fingers crossed. And my hair goes to the middle of my back. Okay, so you have quite long hair. All right. Hi, Sam. Your live streaming is really helpful for us. Hey, it's a pleasure. I'm glad I can help. Just show up, okay? 쌤, 근데 오늘 올려준 캔슬한 영상 초반에 오타가 있었어요. Yeah. I saw that not very long after. You know, it's so funny because I really tried hard to go through all of the subtitles throughout the video to make sure there were no typos. I missed one, Hwayoung, I think. I was pretty sure. I didn't even doubt the spelling for Hwayoung. I thought it was Hwayoung, but it turned out it was Hwayoung. Okay, so I learned something, right? And I checked so many times, but I don't know why I didn't think of checking that very first text at the very beginning of the video. I guess I thought that there couldn't have been any errors there because it was so big and it was so simple, but it happens, I guess. Isn't that section 2 that we did? Section 2? What's section 2? You just had dinner? Okay, so what was for... I asked my family to cut my hair sometimes. Oh, okay. That's cool. I've been eating yashik lately. Okay, so I started gaining cutie belly fat, so I tried making manyo soup, and it turned out to be so delicious that I think I might actually lose my belly fat this time. Oh, okay, cool. All right. As long as you don't eat too much of it, right? Hey, Yongni, what's up? How's it going? Speaking of which, I actually made my bangs down myself a few days ago. It's terrible. I should have visited. It's okay. I mean, how bad could it be, right? How bad could it be? Whenever I get to run into Retriever, they remind me of Amber. Yeah. Did you actually get to meet Amber? I'm curious. Today's video is quite thought-provoking. Well, for me too. It's something that I have a lot of interest in. I think it's something that a lot of people are interested in. I think it's a big part of our social dynamics, you know, and people. I really think a lot about, you know, like the cancel culture, because I think every culture in every country has cancel culture, and I think it's getting increasingly bad as time goes by for some reason, and I hope it just turns into something more productive, right? Instead of something that's so toxic. So let's chat at 3 p.m. tomorrow to be at ease, huh? Hi, OG, my OG. I'm so sorry to hear that. Fine, things will be fine. Okay. Talking to me about Amber? Oh, the typo at the beginning? No, it was not intentional. I had no idea I made that typo. 그리고 자막 켜놓고 해외 영화 보고 있는데 듣기에 도움이 되는지 모르겠어요. 재밌게 공부를 자막 켜놓고 해외 영화 보고 있는데 yeah, that's fine. That helps, sir. As long as you're listening carefully, and even better, take notes as you watch the movie, or maybe even after you finish the movie. Take notes of the expressions that you can remember. Take notes of the expressions that you want to remember, that you want to be able to use. Maybe some of the lines, maybe even just, you know, maybe do a little writing of your overall impression about the movie. That helps too. Yeah, that's what I would do. If I were to start learning another language, and if I were to use movies and TV shows to help myself learn that language, I would maybe just sit through a movie, right? And just let it finish. And then just kind of think back at what I just watched, try to remember anything that I've heard, and maybe write some down, and maybe write a little impression, you know, just a little writing of how I felt about the movie, what I liked, what I didn't like, things like that. I think that could help. Did you name Amber because of her hair color? Yeah, mainly because of that. 막막하다? I guess it depends. It depends on the situation, but you could say it's frustrating. That's one thing you could say, or you can say, you know, I feel like I'm at a dead end. I'm at a dead end. I don't know what to do. I mean, there are many things you can say, and which one is best depends on the situation. Yeah, you could say I feel helpless. Sure. So are you thinking about a situation, Liam Neem, or it's really bad? I look like a kind of mango? What's mango? But my hair grows so fast, so it's not a big deal. Okay. Hey, Horolim, what's up? Did I say your name right? Hey, Horolim, what's up? I'm just gonna say, hey, Harold, just in your videos. How do you think there's a possibility? I mean, well, it's kind of hard to remember, but I have taken Amber to maybe 1 or 2 events that I did as I was trying to promote my book, and some of the people that were there actually got to meet Amber, and so that was cool. You've been doing live streams almost a week straight. That's really amazing. Yeah, I'm trying to keep this up as long as I can. This is I know that some of you guys don't tune into every stream. Maybe some of you tune into only the streams on this channel, or some of you tune into mostly on the Toddler channel. But I've been streaming. This is my 6th stream in a row, and so I'm just trying to see how long I can keep this up. I remember learning actual English expressions growing up. It's my first time watching you live, so good to be in a conversation. All right, welcome to the stream. It's nice to have you with us. Hey Rachel, what's up? Junim, hi sir, do you have dinner? No, I think I know you guys are tired of hearing this, but I think I had a late lunch, and I have not had dinner yet, but the lunch I had was pretty big. I actually ended up eating a lot more than I was planning to. I guess it was really good. And so I'm planning on not eating anything for dinner. Like, I'm planning on skipping dinner, basically. I actually took my evening meds because I'm actually still feeling pretty full. So I don't think I will be eating anymore today. Of course, that might change whenever I change my mind. Could you recommend one movie for studying English? Well, what kind of genre do you like, Mininim? What kind of genre do you like? Because I love horror movies, and if I recommend a horror movie, you're not gonna watch it. So it depends. What do you like? Yeah, I'm at a dead end. It's okay. It's all right. You don't have to keep up with anything. Just go at your own pace. It's all right. It's not like you have to remember everything we cover in the streams. As I always say, you're not expected to remember every single thing. Just be here, experience it. That's it. The experience is what matters. Okay. And stop giving yourself reasons to say that this is hard. You're giving yourself reasons, right? You're giving yourself a reason to not do it. Stop doing that. Oh, this is just the name of the artist of the song that Sonani was asking about. I don't even know how to read it. Odeli or Audely? I don't know. It's probably not English. I recently moved to a new country. Okay. Where everyone speaks in English, but it feels like my speaking skill is even getting worse than when I was in Korea. I guess that happens. Just try not to stress over it too much. It just, keep in mind, just remember that English is not your main language. It's okay not to be perfect. Just learn as much as you can. Just do the best you can. And don't get so caught up in the thought of, that your English is not perfect. Don't let it bring you down too much. Don't get so caught up in that idea. Just try to be there. Just be present and just try to communicate, okay? You're there to communicate, so. Yeah, 6 days in a row. How do you feel today? I feel, a little tired, actually, because I was up all night last night. I finished filming the video that I uploaded this morning. I finished filming that around 2:30 this morning. And I immediately came back home and I started editing it. And fortunately, I was fast enough with the editing that I got it uploaded before 8. That was my goal. And so, a little bit tired. I did get some sleep afterwards. I think I got about maybe 3 or 4 hours of sleep. But then I had to take my dogs out, So now I'm here. How do you feel today, Eleni? I was up until 2 doing chores. I'm so tired. Yeah, me too. Tired. Teacher visit, first time live stream. Hey, welcome to the stream. It's nice to have you here. I don't have dinner too. Okay. I mean, that's great. Did you know that the hungrier you stay, the younger you stay. Did you know that? I mean, I don't really know how that works, but from what I hear, there is some proof to that. That when your body is feeling hungry, your aging process slows down. Later at night, I might not. I don't think I will. Although, I guess I will, like really late at night, but I'll try not to eat anything. You're not knowing Mango shows us that you're not a native speaker in English. I think it's kind of a cultural thing that most Korean adults. So Mango, it's a character, right? It's probably like a character that was really popular when I was not in Korea, maybe. I remember some of the TV shows that were popular right when I came back to Korea in '94, and that was because my parents would like watch it on TV, and I think like it was 용의 눈물 and like things like 모래시계. I didn't actually sit and watch those shows, but I do remember some of the ones that were playing when I first came back. 영구 and 맹구? Any movie with easy, comfortable English expression? Any movie? Huh. With easy, comfortable English expressions. Smile. Smile. I mean, look at the title. It feels good, right? It just from the title, it makes you feel good. Smile. Smile. Oh, Cassandra? Oh, you gotta watch that. That is so good. What? Oh, good evening, Sam. I watched Cassandra up to episode 2, and I think it's pretty much the same as the movie Maid, starring Megan Fox. Oh, okay, is it? All right. Well, I did not see. Yeah, it did have some. It did remind me of a few other movies like Megan, and also movies like not exactly sure which the other movies were, but it did remind me of some other movies. So it's very similar to the movie Maid. Okay. I actually did not see that one. I have big hands, so I made a huge pot of manyo soup. So eating a big portion. Oh, okay. Ah, 손이 크다. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if that's how they say it. I know what that expression means. I don't really know an expression that matches with that. So yeah, it's an interesting expression. Like I like how we say it like that. It's a clever expression, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that one. Hi Sam, today's chilly. Have you heard? This year it's going to be hot from April to November. It seems like, I've decided not to really give too much trust to those forecasts because they've been wrong so many times, like even very recently. And so I don't want to just I don't want to worry for get worked up and worried for over nothing. So I'm just gonna wait until the weather actually does its thing, and I'll deal with it when the weather actually comes. Yeah, it's nice to see you again. I just looked it up and you have an issue. I have an issue? Issue with what? You always say you're not fluent in both languages. You are fluent in both languages. There are a few moments sometimes. You know, I try to be, and I think I'm improving. So I guess that's what really matters. It doesn't really matter whether I'm fluent or not fluent right now. What matters is that I'm improving, right? Smile. You know, it has some scary, qualities to it, sure. So creepy. I guess it depends on how you look at it. But. 번역가 황석희님이 영어를 한국어 번역하는 거 봤는데 되게 매력적이더라고요. 쌤도 잘하실 것 같아요. No, I don't think I could do that. Like I said, I think we talked about this like few streams ago, maybe yesterday, but I think being able to instantly translate one and very effectively and efficiently, because I think when it comes to translation, and it's not just translation, you are translating in order to help people understand a language they don't understand at the spot, right on the spot. You're trying to help them understand, and so it requires you to be very effective and very, very efficient. And I think that requires a completely different set of skills to be able to do that. And I'm just not trained in that area, so I don't think I could do a good job at all. What are you planning to do this March 1st holiday? I have no plans. I didn't even know it was a holiday. How about you? Do you have any plans? It would be awesome if you get to translate a movie or a book. Like I said, I don't think I could do a good job. Well, you see, this is what I'm talking about. That's why you have to choose your own, because you have to be able to enjoy it. You see what I mean? I talk about this all the time. When someone else chooses any sort of material for you, there's a really high chance that it's not going to work because it's not to your liking. Okay? You have to find something that you are naturally attracted to, because there's no such thing as a good material for everybody. There's no such thing. The best material is the one that you are attracted to and that you can enjoy for a long period of time. So that's very, very important. That's why I asked you. And you said any movie. And so I gave a recommendation, right? So you see what I mean? I'm just wondering, do you live in Korea? Yes, I do. I've been living in Korea since 1994. My family and I, we all came back in 1994, and I never went back since. I learned a slang, chopped. I guess it depends on how you use that. So, how would you use that as a slang? I almost forgot to watch your video. You mean you forgot to tune into this stream? Is that what you mean? Hey, Skeptic Name, how you doing? I mean, those moments make you humane-ish. You know what I mean? Oh, okay. So, in those very imperfect moments, you mean? After work, I'm trying to work out every day. Okay, so I almost forgot. Oh, it's okay. You go at your own pace. You don't have. I mean, the videos aren't going anywhere, right? They're gonna be there for as long as YouTube is available. So, no pressure, right? I didn't watch Cassandra considering Sam's recommendation. I knew it'd be scary. It's actually not that scary. I don't even consider it a horror movie. I barely consider it a thriller. It's more like sci-fi, if you ask me. It's like sci-fi thriller. Translation requires a kind of poetic sensation, doesn't it? Poetic? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think you have to have a poetic I don't think it requires a poetic touch, but then I don't really know anything about translating, so Bishop 쳤는데 시원하게 말아먹고 왔어요. That's great. That's great. Yep. And it's gonna, it's probably gonna happen again. Don't let it get you down. That's the important thing. Don't let it stop you. 영화를 본다고 표현할 때 watch 말고 see 많이 쓰나요? Yeah, see a movie. Yeah, I saw a movie. I watched a movie. 선생님도 저번에 see라고 쓰셨던. Yeah, it's both are used. I think you are a suitable person to work like that. 영어 번역. I think you are a suitable person to work like that. Okay. Oh, you mean I'm suitable to become like a translator for like someone to make subtitles for foreign movies? I don't know, man. I don't know. Am I a chopped liver? What? I don't even know what that means. Why don't you try intern? I think storyline goes easily relatable and very everyday life-like. Okay. 한국 사람이 이거 별로 안 매워요 하는 거 같은 거 아니에요? Maybe. Hey, this is why we're all human, right? Everybody's different. I'm gonna watch Intern again. Oh, again. Okay. 그냥 보이는 거 watch 주의를 기울여서 보는 거 맞나요? What I recommend is always focus on the actual use case. Try not to set up rules for, oh, this word, it's only when we say this and it only means this. Because it's, when it comes to language, there are so many variables. 변수가 너무 많아요. And therefore there are so many exceptions. 그래서 예외도 너무 많고. 그래서 you always focus on the use case. 항상 실제 활용을 많이 봐야 돼요. 아, 이렇게도 쓰는구나, 저렇게도 쓰는구나. 그리고 그걸 보면서도 계속해서 습관적으로 거기서 이제 규칙을 계속 추출해 내려고 하죠. You always look for ways to set up rules. Like, what's the rule? What's the formula? Don't do that. Just focus on the use. Watch how they use it and just use it like them. You know what I mean? 황 번역가님 uses all kinds of AI to check English context. People ask if he's worried about AI taking over translation jobs. He says he never wants to go back to a time without AI. I see, yeah. Well, you know what they say? That there's something interesting that I recently learned about AI, the whole idea of AI taking over jobs. Here's the thing. AI will not take over jobs. People who use AI will take over jobs. Okay? And I think that's the correct way to think about it, actually. And I think that is what's going to happen in the foreseeable future. It's not that AI will take over your job. People who utilize AI and who utilize it well will take over your job. 표현습대계는 확실히 현대 일상을 다루는 영화가 다른 장르보다 더 도움. Of course, absolutely. However, there's something more important than that. You have to be able to enjoy it. It has to be enjoyable for you to watch, because no matter how good the material is, if you don't maintain it for a long period of time, it doesn't matter. It's not going to work. Okay? So you always have to keep that in mind. It has to be something that you can enjoy for a long period of time. All right? My eldest daughter cried from the headache due to a cold tonight. It's heartbreaking. Yeah, that is very heartbreaking. Wow, she cried because of a headache. Wow, you don't hear it. Yeah, that is so sad. That's very, very heartbreaking, yeah. Very sorry. Do you know what caused? Oh, from her cold. Okay. That really sucks. That really, really sucks. Hey, 과장님, what's up? How you doing? Business meeting? It depends on what kind of business. It depends on what kind, because, not all business dialogue are the same. And so here's what I recommend. Whenever you're trying to learn business English, I don't actually believe in business English, because I from what I understand, if you want to be effective when using English in business relationships, You just need to be good at English. Think about it. Is there such thing as business Korean? I don't know. You just have to be very good with the language if you want to be able to, if you want to be able to communicate well even in a business setting, right? And so I don't really think there's such thing as, I don't really believe in business English. I think it's just a gimmick. But one thing that I do recommend is that you treat it as you would treat an interview, like preparing for an interview, because nobody knows what you will be needing the English for better than you. You see what I mean? Nobody knows that better than you. You know best how you will be, what kind of language you will be needing. And so, put together like a script of some like a long list of things that you will probably be asking and saying, and just find out how to say those things in English. You know what I mean? That's what I would do. That's definitely what I would do. 윙가르디움 레비오사. What? 근데 진짜 우리나라로 바꾸면 수리수리 마스리. What? Okay, I know nothing about that. Is it just me? 과장님's profile picture makes me want to have some chips. Yeah. It's like when you're told not to do something, it just makes you want to do it more, right? You know what? These days I feel you are getting... who, me? Maybe we're just spending a lot of time with each other. That's why. I'm thinking about getting the book you published. Is the book targeted for English level fluency, or it's good for all English learners regardless of fluency? Are you asking if is the book targeted for English level? Yeah, it's targeted for fluency, of course. Like, it's not targeted for anything else. It's targeted for fluency. It's meant to help you, improve your fluency overall. Sure. Like, why would it be anything else? Regardless of their fluency. Well, it's not for absolute beginners. I did not have beginners in mind when I was putting together the book. However, I think one of the things that are holding back a lot of English learners in Korea is that they try to find material that are suited to their fluency level. I don't think that's a very... Okay, so I don't believe in that. I think that is you're just holding yourself back. Okay? I think when it comes to learning another language, you should not worry about whether the material you are using is suitable for your level, because that's not how language. You can't really distinguish levels when it comes to a language. As I always say, learning another language is almost exactly the same as trying to adapt to another culture. And when you're adapting to another culture, you're not going to pick and choose, like, what you feel comfortable with or something that you're not ready for. No, you're not going to pick and choose. You just go there and you spend time there and you just try to get used to it and you try to adapt, right? And that's what you need to do with English too. I dread situations where I should speak formally in English. It's too much for me. Yeah, too much for me too. Please tell me you saw Harry Potter. How could you never ring a bell, huh? I did watch Harry Potter a few times, actually. Oh, is that one of the spells that they do? I know it's hard to fall asleep if I have a late night snack, but I always end up having some late night food. It's kind of my guilty pleasure. Yeah, well, it's not the end of the world, right? When did you start English study? When did I start studying English? when I was a child, I guess. I don't study English anymore. And, I don't want you guys to study as well. I want you guys to use it. Because studying English doesn't really get you that far. I hope there are some photo cards with your new book. You have so many different facial expressions. I bet they... Okay. Just kind of as a joke, right? There's something called paradox of change. It's not when you try to change others, but when you just accept who they are, that they start to change as you wish. Okay. I don't really... That is very, very paradoxical. I'm going to have to think about that for a while to really understand what it means. But I can kind of get what it's trying to say, but... Okay. 최근에 3년 반 동안 미국에서 살다 왔는데 입은 안 튀어도 귀는 조금 열린 거에 만족하고 있어요. 더 열심히 말해봤어야 했는데 조금 후회되네요. Well, it's... No matter what you did, you're going to have regrets. So... And that's why you shouldn't have regrets, because no matter what you did, you would have had regrets. So it's okay. You did the best you could. Spell, yes. Wingardium Leviosa. Is that the one? It's hard to speak English than writing. Right, because you've spent more time writing than speaking. So it's not... Yes, it's hard. I know that it feels harder, but the reality is that you're just not familiar with it. You're just not used to it as much as you are with writing. So, 현진우가 영어 미팅할 때 종종 있는데 뭐랄까 한국어는 말이 끝날 때까지 잘 들어봐야 하잖아. 근데 영어는 일단 동사를 얘기하고 이유에 대해서 얘기하니까 they always cut in my sentence middle of something is hardly persuade them. It's not because of the language. You know that. Leave the name. It's because your fluency is not good enough. And the only way to improve your fluency is to just keep using English as much as you can. I'm really sorry to say, but there's no... I really wish there was. I really wish there was a shortcut. I really wish there was a way for you to improve your fluency without putting in too much time or effort, but I just don't know of any. I don't know of any method that could do that. So, I feel your pain, but I'm just, telling you how things are. Good to see you again, Hannah. How you been? 영화에서는 혜림이 언니가 리뷰였어. 이런 식으로 발음해서 좀 더 있어 보인다고 해야 하나? 그런 얘기하세요. Okay. Could you recommend some actresses with good pronunciation and attractive expressions for girls learning English? Okay, you're asking the wrong... Can anybody help here? Because I have no idea. I don't know what to say. I don't know. With attractive expressions, like... so specific. Are we continuing yesterday's topic as well? Yesterday's topic? Are you talking about the topic we covered in the dialogue we covered over on the toddler channel? Because this is the main channel, and this we do completely, we do different stuff. So today's stream is not a continuation from yesterday's stream. Okay. 저는 하나의 주문이 가능해진다면 투명 인간이 되는 주문을 하고 싶어요. If we ask Sam only to watch horror movies forever, then he just starts watching other genre? Oh, you mean according to the paradox of change? What do you want to do if you become invisible? If I become invisible? probably work as a spy. Wait. Okay, first of all, I think I would need to move to a country where the weather is always very, very warm and pleasant. Because if I want to take advantage of being invisible, I need to be naked all the time, right? And that's kind of a hassle if you think about it. Like, imagine you're in Korea and like, what do you do in winter? You know? So if you want to take advantage of being invisible all the time, you have to be naked all the time, which is a whole thing, you know, in and of itself, because like you're going to always feel kind of insecure. And I don't know, I think I would always feel kind of nervous, like, oh, what if I suddenly lose the ability and suddenly people can see me, right? So I think I would, first of all, I think I would move to a very warm climate. Yeah, that's what I would do. That's okay. Don't worry about it. Hey, I get confused too. So, let's say your clothes is also invisible? Really? Okay, that hardly makes sense. Oh, alright then. I guess I would, like, work as a spy, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I gotta do something, right? Something to make use of it? Like, put it into good use? That's a hell of a T comment. Is it? Hey, being realistic is a T? Okay. Well then, you know, I'm a proud T. I am a proud T. Doesn't being invisible include clothing? It's imagination anyway. I mean, but that hardly makes sense. Like, just because you're able to be invisible, suddenly all your clothes can do the same thing. I don't know how that works. You've been streaming like what, 3 days in a row? Actually, this is my 6th stream in a row. I'm so tired of people in social relationships. Oh, yeah. A lot of people feel the same way. And at the same time, people are lonely. And it's really difficult to really put a finger on why people feel that way. Like, they hate people, but at the same time, they feel very lonely. I think this is kind of a, it's a phenomena that's widespread, like, everywhere. And I think it has a lot to do with social media and the internet in general. And, yeah. I don't know exactly how, like, what's happening, like, you know, what is in play, actually, but I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way. It's interesting the way... Can you run fast? Talking about me? I can run like the wind. I'm definitely going to try. Although tomorrow's going to be tricky because I'm going to be out for throughout most of the day because of Amber. And so I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen tomorrow. I'm going to try. As long as I'm awake and I'm feeling okay, I'm going to be streaming tomorrow over on the Toddler channel. But who knows? Maybe I'll just fall asleep and not be able to get up or something. I don't know. So I'm not making any promises, but I'm definitely going to try. I promise that I'm going to try, but I don't know if I'm going to be here tomorrow. Hey, being invisible doesn't make sense already. Well, you know. Yeah, okay. Well, so you're right about that. But, you know, when you ask... I mean, so what you got to start, like, listing the conditions, right? Because think about this. If you are invisible, then you are blind as well. Did you know that? Because our eyes, it acts kind of like a camera. And what we see is it's actually a reflection, right? So, but then you are an outlier because you say you've never felt lonely. Yeah. Oh, well, no, I mean, there are, of course, exceptions, right? Yeah. I mean, I'm saying, like, generally nowadays, it's actually becoming a really big social problem nowadays. Like, everywhere in the world, people are lonely. Especially the current young generation. I think, is it the Z generation? Generation Z, or is it X? I can never keep track of those things. But they are known to be like the loneliest generation ever. And it's all because of the internet. Snack change from not eating to crusher like a windmill, like a windmill. Just like the wind. I really like your cancel culture video. It is full of keen insights into human nature and psychology. Well, it's an interesting topic for sure. And it really taps into very dark places. I mean, if you could fall into a very dark rabbit hole when you start kind of, analyzing things. But it's interesting for sure. 쌤은 5감 중에서 하나만 살릴 수 있다면 뭐 고르실 거예요? Sight. Of course, I think most people will tell you the same thing. Of course, sight. Like, how could it be anything else? Then what would you choose? Why? Because that's like, I mean, think about it. Think about it. Why would you choose anything else? Nah. I'm pretty sure that when it comes to it, everybody's gonna choose sight. I can pretty much guarantee that. Nobody's gonna give up their sight over their taste buds. Come on, think about it. Yeah, I know. Of course, absolutely. I would lose my sense of smell, taste, hearing, like any day of the week. I would choose sight over every other sense, You underestimate my pitch joke. What is that? My car battery's out now. What? So I'm waiting for. Oh, you're stuck in the road now? Oh, okay. I hope you're not stuck out there for too long, Jenny. Okay, so the guy's on his way, yeah? Okay. I hope you can, I hope you can get home soon. People add yuck at the end of any word these days. Gosh, I hope you have heat in there at least. Heat where? Oh yeah, where Jenny is right now? I'm guessing she's like stranded somewhere. I mean, even if she's like in a parking lot somewhere in a facility, it's still got to be pretty cold. So I don't know. I hope you can find some shelter while you wait. I mean, that is true. I mean, yeah, of course it's gonna be. And a lot of people actually have lost their taste buds and their sense of smell because of COVID. And it's devastating. Of course, it's very crippling, but not as bad as losing your sight. Was the last video about cancel culture inspired by Kim recently died? Kim recently died? Oh, was she an actress? The actress. Well, maybe, but it wasn't. I had been preparing that dialogue for even before that, because it's becoming an increasingly bigger problem, like in the U.S., in Korea, like everywhere. So it's been on my mind. I had been meaning to do that for quite some time, actually. Okay, it's 9 o'clock, you guys. All right. Let's get after it. Quiet Place 봤는데 괴물은 시각이 없어서 죽고 딸은 청각이 없지만 세상을 살렸네요. Okay. Those of you who did not see the movie, just pretend you didn't read that, okay? Hi Sam, I reconnect to the internet due to network problems and watch again. Okay, so you were kind of disconnected for a while there. Okay, what did you say after devastating? Devastating. What did I say? I don't know. I don't know what I was saying. Okay, all right. You spoiled it, Nananim. You spoiled it for you, Nim. Although, I mean, it's not that big of a spoil, I guess. Not that big of a spoil. I haven't watched your new video yet. Should watch it like? Well, you don't have to. I mean, it would be great if you do, though. I mean, I put in a lot of time into it. We're not going to get into anything to it. Like I said, we don't. I guess I only told the people on Discord, but we're not going to do a dialogue today. We're just going to go over some expressions. That's all. Okay. Just as the title says, it's not going to be a dialogue. We're just going to go over some expressions, some random expressions that I thought are kind of interesting. Okay. All right. So let's see. He is the only one who can do this. Does everybody understand what this means? He's the only one who could do this? He's the only one who can do this. Everybody understand? Hananim, you don't know what cancel culture is? What is cancel culture in Korean? I kind of had trouble translating that term, cancel culture. And actually, I was able to come up with one, but it kind of sounded a little too harsh. Yes, actually, Yorlabon, that's what I actually came up with, and I thought that was a pretty good representation of what cancel culture is. But I don't know, for some reason, it kind of sounded a little too harsh. Even my wife said so. And so I started looking for it, and I did some searching online, and I came up with a much more formal term. But anyway. Okay. I see. Okay. 나락? 나락? Really? 나락? Huh. Okay. All right. Anyway, so he's the only one who can do this. Now, there is a way to phrase this in a different way in English. Okay? It's an interesting structuring of the English sentence. Okay? 나락 간다? Okay. It doesn't really sound, I don't know, maybe I'm just not familiar with the term. But anyway. Okay. So in English, they often phrase it like this. If anyone can do this, it's him. If anyone can do this, it's him. If anyone can do this, it's him. And I think compared to this is a much more English way of phrasing this, because I think in Korean we don't really express it like this, right? We usually express it like this. We don't really express it like this, but you'll hear this sort of phrasing, this sort of structuring a lot by native speakers. Okay? If anyone can do this, it's him. So this, it emphasizes that there isn't anybody. It's likely that nobody can do it. Okay? That's why we say, if anyone can do this, it means I doubt that anyone can do this, but if anyone can do this, it's him. Okay? No, actually it's a very commonly used structure. Okay? So let's say that you have there's a group of people in an office, and they're trying to find a way to talk to their boss. They need to persuade him and maybe change their boss's mind. But the boss has a tendency to not listen to anybody. Like, once he has his mind made up, you can't really change his mind. However, there is one person who really has a way with words, and who has a way with the boss, and maybe the boss likes this particular one employee, and so we can say, I think Jeff should go talk to him. Because, let's face it, if anyone can change Mr. What? Mr. Lee's mind, it's Jeff. Does that make sense? So let's say they're trying to decide, okay, so who's going to go talk to Mr. Lee? Say, I think Jeff should go talk to him, because let's face it, if anyone can change Mr. Lee's mind, it's Jeff. Okay? And another way we can approach this context is this. If Mr. Lee will listen to anyone, it's Jeff. If Mr. Lee will listen to anyone, it's Jeff. Okay? So, again, it means it's unlikely that Mr. Lee will listen to anyone. But if he does, if he will listen to anyone, it's Jeff. Okay? 굳이 의견을 듣는다면? So, in translation, no, I'm not going to give you the translation, because I don't want you to rely on the Korean translation too much. I just want you to feel what this means. Okay? I just want you to kind of just to understand it. You don't always have to have a Korean translation, okay? So again, let me just explain this again. So it's very unlikely that Mr. Lee will listen to anyone. But if he does, it's Jeff. So Jeff is the only hope we have. You see what I mean? Sending Jeff to talk to Mr. Lee is the only hope we have of changing his mind. Does that make sense? That makes sense? Okay, that's what it means. That's what it means. And that's really all you need to know. Okay? Yes, that's right. That's right. That means even with Jeff, the likeliness is very low. However, if there is any likeliness, it's going to be with Jeff going to talk to him. Okay. All right. So that's the first one that I wanted to go over. Okay. Let me just give you another example. No, I think that's. Oh, wait. Okay, how about this one? Jasmine is the only one of us who has any experience with this sort of stuff. So, 우리 중에 이걸 해결할 수 있는 사람이 있다면 그것은 자스민이다. Okay? That's what we want to say. Go, do it. Try it. So if anyone can figure it out, it's Jasmine. It's her 할게요. Jasmine is the only one of us who has any experience with this sort of stuff, so if anyone can figure it out, it's her. And again, this emphasizes that the overall probability is low. However, if there is any the only hope we have is with her. Okay. Jasmine is the only one of us who has any experience with this sort of stuff, so if anyone can figure it out, it's her. 매일 수업하나요? That is something that I'm trying to do. So I have been this is my 6th stream this week. Of course, I switch between 2 channels. Like yesterday, I streamed over on the toddler channel. Today, I'm streaming over here. And so I'm trying to stream. I go back and forth, but I try to stream every day. Let's see how long I can keep this going. If I have something I'm addicted to, it's chocolate. Okay, good. This is a good example. Oh, hey, I think I have an example that you might be familiar with. How about this? If there's anything I hate more than... If there's anything I hate more than... More than what? Let's see. If there's anything I hate more than... If there's anything I hate more than... Monday. JC, thank you for the idea. If there's anything more than I hate than Mondays, it's a rainy Monday. If If there's anything more than I hate than Mondays, it's a rainy Monday. Okay. So just an example. So you've heard this sort of phrasing before, right? Yeah. 월요일도 극혐이지만 그것보다 더 극혐인 거는 it's a rainy Monday. For me, all rainy days. Oh, you hate all rainy days? Really? Why? Why do you hate rain so much? Why do you hate rain so much? Okay. He's a farmer. Wait, farmers need for it to rain, right? It's gloomy. Mondays couldn't get more hated. He's a farmer. All right. Okay, so oh. Hey, did those of you who watched my video this morning, there was a line that actually used this sort of phrasing. Do you guys remember? If there's one thing people love more than a hero's rise is it's their downfall. I think it was something like this. You guys remember? If there's one thing people if there's no. Oh wait. It wasn't an if phrasing. It was the only thing. It was the only thing. The only thing that people love more than a hero's rise is their downfall. Okay, so the structure was a little bit different. The structure, I think, in the video was the only thing. The only thing people love more than a hero's rise is their downfall. But you could certainly structure it like this. You could certainly structure it like this. I think in the video was this. The only thing people love more than a hero's rise is their downfall. But you could certainly phrase it like this. If there's one thing people love more than a hero's rise, it's their downfall. Right. Schadenfreude. You just got home. Okay, hooray! Yay! Jenny got home. All right. Okay, let's move on to the next one. This is a hard one. Okay, let's imagine that you are standing next to someone on a computer and they're using an AI program like, ChatGPT or something. And let's say that they did something that looks really cool, right? That looks really very clever. Let's say that you just witnessed a very clever and very a very smart use of an AI program. Okay? And then you say, whoa, I didn't know you could do that. That's cool. For example. Okay, whoa, I didn't know you could do that. That's cool. And then let's say that B wants to make it sound like, that was, it wasn't that impressive. And, it's just one of many things, right? And let's say, and something that I might say, if I were B, okay, if I were B, I might say something like this. If AI is good for anything. Oh, you're right. Sorry about that. So, whoa, I didn't know you could do that. That's cool. Well, if AI is good for anything, can you guess what this means? If AI is good for anything? Can you guess what this means? If AI is good for anything. It's actually not this. It's actually not this. Actually, by saying if AI is good for anything, it is implying, 어떤 의미를 내포하는 거냐면, it is implying that AI in general is, it's not that great, it's not that impressive, but at least it could do something like this. AI, it's not all that great, but it could do something small like this. It's kind of like this. 뭐 별로지만 나름 이럴 때는 나쁘지 않다. Hey, if AI is good for anything. Okay. It's not suggesting anything. It's not saying, AI is better than you think. No, it's saying that, maybe AI is not all that impressive, but at least it can do something like this. Okay? So, if you imagine other situations, it depends. It depends. It depends. For example, okay, so again, this is another thing, right? So let's say that you do something, and you do something with your smartphone, and someone says, "Oh, hey, that's pretty clever. Hey, good idea." Let's say you used your phone to do something that the other person didn't even imagine doing, and they say, "Hey, that's a good idea," using your smartphone, and you can say, "Well, if a smartphone is good for anything." Okay? Well, if it's good for anything. But how about this? Imagine that, right now I'm imagining that I have a little brother, okay? And let's say that I've always felt that I have never really been a good brother to my brother, all right? And I always have this kind of resentment towards myself for that. And so let's say that there was this one time that I did something good for my brother, right? And my brother says, let's say my little brother, he says, "Hey, thanks, bro." And then I might say, well, if a brother is good for anything, if a brother is good for anything. So this is something that I might say if I have this underlying sense of, not being enough, not having done enough for my little brother, then I might say something like this. Okay? Yeah, it's kind of like this. Hey, if a brother is good for anything, right? So it's kind of like if you were to say this in Korean, it's kind of like saying, 내가 평소에는 많은 걸 못 해줘도 그래도 이 정도는, right? It's kind of like that. Yeah, and you can also say that about yourself as a friend. You can say, well, if a friend is good for anything. So in a way, it's kind of like this. Let's imagine, do you guys know an expression? It's a very, very commonly used expression that we hear all the time from native speakers. When someone does something for someone as a thank you, right? In order to thank someone, you maybe give them a small gift, maybe you do something for them, and they say, "Oh, hi, you didn't have to do this. You didn't have to do this." And what do you say? What do you say? Right. It's the least I can do. Hey, it's the least I can do. It's the least I can do. So saying this and it's the least I can do, these two expressions, they have a very similar vibe. Okay? They're not the same. They're definitely not the same. They're used in different situations, but they're kind of similar. Okay? It's the least I can do. And in that case, you would certainly not say anything like this. Okay? All right. Okay. Okay, let's move on to the next one. I'm very curious. I am very curious. Maybe I underestimate you guys too much, but I'm very curious if anybody is going to actually come up with the expression that I'm thinking of. But who knows? Maybe there are even other expressions that we could use. So imagine, so what would you say in English if you want to say this? 내가 잘못 본 줄 알았다니까. How would you say this? 내가 잘못 본 줄 알았다니까. Hint. Okay. I'll give you a big hint. I'll give you a big hint. So, 내가 잘못 본 줄 알았다. 내가 잘못 본 줄 알았다. 그래서 어떻게 했겠어요? 잘못 본 줄 알았으니까 어떻게 했겠어요? 눈을 씻어. That's cute. Okay. 자, 이 다음 힌트는 그냥 거의 답을 알려드리는 거랑 같은 거예요. 답을 알려드리는 거랑 마찬가지인 힌트예요. 이 단어는 어떤 행위를 가리키는 거냐면 이거예요. 이거 하다가 딱 이거를 가리키는 말이 있어요. No? 모르는구나. I did a double take. I did a double take. I did a double take. When you do a double take, okay? When you do a double take, it's exactly referring to that. You see something for a moment, you turn away from it, and you realize, what the hell did I just see? Really? And you have to look back. That's doing a double take, okay? Double check is to make sure that everything is correct. So it's kind of different, right? So you can double check your spelling, you can double check for errors, but doing a double take is it's more intuitive and it's more instantaneous. It's more it's just like a response. It's just a natural response your body does. Okay? And this do a double take, you can use it for things that you see, things that you hear, things that you read, anything. Okay? Anything. So this could be 내가 잘못 들은 줄 알았다니까. It's same thing. I did a double take. Okay. And now this expression, now this is the base form, do a double take, okay? However, sometimes you want to emphasize how compelling that moment was, how strong you were compelled to do that. You were forced to look again or to check again, right? And so in those cases, we would say, I had to do a double take. This is also a very commonly used way. This expression is commonly used. Okay, I had to do a double take. So this, by adding had to, you are adding the very, very compelling aspect of that experience. Okay, and so even there's a way to even go further with the emphasis. You could say, it made me do a double take. This is another way. It made me do a double take. Okay? So what are some things that really made you do a double take? Like, maybe you saw someone's Instagram post and it was maybe something shocking, something you did not expect, something that the person normally doesn't post, and maybe you do a double take, right? Maybe you learned about who is starring in that movie that was being hyped, and when you heard the names, of the cast, people in the movie, what, really? You do a double take. Okay. So, okay. 잘못 본 줄, 내가 잘못 본 줄 알았어. I had to do a double take. Okay. In my experience, it's usually not. It usually doesn't lead directly to what you are referring to. Usually, that is mentioned before. So, for example, when I first saw the title, I did a double take. I couldn't believe they used. So this is kind of how they use it with context. Okay, so I did a double take. I had to do a double take. It made me do a double take. It's just used independently. Of course, you could have context surrounding it. Okay, so you could say, yeah. When I first heard about, when I first heard the announcement, I couldn't believe it. I did a double take. So I went back there, I checked again, okay, like this. So this expression itself is just used independently, but of course you can have context before and afterwards. 일본 공항에서 박보검 봤을 때 생각. Okay. Who's 박보검? Anyway. I did a double take at the price. Yeah, that sounds okay. Yeah, you could say at the price. I did a double take at the price. Yeah. How did you come up with that? Yeah, that actually sounds right. Mm-hmm. When I first heard that announcement, I had to do a double take, right? 미대에서 친구 아들이 자기를 좋아한 친구의 아들이 Wait, am I hearing this correct? See, I'm doing a double take. Wait, 친구의 아들이 자기를 좋아한다고 할 때. Oh, okay. What? Yeah, right. Okay. I ran into my ex the other day and he went bald, which made me do a double take. He had gone bald. 정크리스님? Artie's ex had gone bald and 정크리스님 is laughing his ass off. I mean, yeah, it is kind of funny. All right. Can I use make instead of did? Make a double take. I almost never hear it like that. I've never heard it being used like that. It's always do a double take. Do a double take. All right. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. Yeah, so like let's say, you opened up your screen and you were checking the stock prices and you saw this number minus 70 on your account and you did a double take. That couldn't be, something like that, right? I went to a cafe this morning. Wait, that's not true, right? Okay. I went to a cafe this morning and I found the owner was making my coffee with dirty hands next to a trash bin. It made me do a double take. Yeah. What the hell? Oh my god. Dirty hands? Oh. All right. I had to do a double take when I won the prize. When I won the first prize at the contest. Okay, so this might be a little bit difficult to explain, but let me try my best. So, when you use this expression, it's best to describe something that really puts you in that moment. Something that feels it has to be something very vivid, a very vivid description of that very moment. And it matches well when you connect it with those kind of descriptions. So in this case, instead of saying when I won the prize, okay, it would sound better when you say when they announced my name. When they announced my name for the first prize, I had to do a double take. It sounds better that way instead of saying you won the prize, because when you say you won the prize, you can say that a year after you won it. Oh, yeah, I won the prize. Like the next day you can say, oh yeah, I won the prize later. So it's not a very vivid description of that very moment, okay? So this expression, it sounds better when you are giving a very, very vivid and lively description of that very moment, okay? Yes, it usually sounds better when you put it in that sort of context, okay? I went to a cafe this morning. I found the owner was making my coffee with his dirty hands next to a trash bin. It made me do a double take. Yeah. You couldn't believe it. You had to do a double take. Those detailed explanation. How can you elaborate? Well, I wanted you guys to understand. When my daughter told me she would go see a movie by herself, I had to do a double take. Yeah, that was, considering her age, right? I mean, she had never done that before, right? She had never gone to a movie by herself. And so turned out the dog spoke Korean. It made me do a double take. What? All right, let's stay in reality here. Maybe you were talking about a dream. It happened in your dream, yeah? Okay. All right. So the video that I uploaded this morning, I realized actually not very long ago, like I think maybe an hour before I started this stream, I realized that I had left out a crucial expression that I really wanted to put in the dialogue. And I still can't believe I left that out, because I had been saving that expression specifically for a dialogue that's properly captured the tone and the nuance of that expression. And I can't believe I messed it up. And it should have been in there, but I'm just going to take this opportunity in this stream right now to actually, I accidentally left it out. And so I'm going to show you what that is now. Okay? I'm going to show you what that is now. So, does anybody, okay, so those of you who have watched the video, so what is one of the reasons, like how, what happens, what does it mean for someone to be canceled? What does it mean? What does that mean? What does it mean for someone to be canceled? For those of you who understood the context in the dialogue, what does it mean for someone to be canceled? Yeah, what does it mean for someone to be canceled? Right, okay, right, to get, ostracized, right, to get killed, right, be buried, right? Now, okay, let's be very straightforward and honest, okay? Now, looking back at people that have been canceled in Korea, what did it take? What did it take for them to be what does it usually take for them to be socially canceled? What does it take? What does it take for someone to be canceled? What does it take? I don't think you're understanding my question. What does it take for them to be canceled? Okay, right, a controversial action, right? A misbehavior, a mistake, right? A mistake, anything that can be controversial, right? It usually, now, does it take a lot for them to be canceled? Like, realistically speaking, does it take many mistakes for someone to be canceled? Does it take many misbehaved incidences? It doesn't take much, right? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to talk about. It really doesn't take much for someone to be canceled. And the expression that I'm going to show you now, it really does a good job of capturing that sentiment, okay? Exactly. Just one is enough, right? That's exactly what this next expression is trying to say. Now, is this an idiom? Is this an idiom? I don't think it's an idiom. Is it an expression? Maybe it's an expression. So here it goes. You're only as good as your last mistake. You're only as good as your last mistake. Your last mistake, sorry. You're only as good as your last mistake. It's a very commonly used expression. It perfectly captures that meaning. You're only as good as your last mistake. So try to keep in mind everything that I talked about up to this point, okay? So, someone can have a lifetime of a very, very clean career, and it just takes one mistake. And that's why this is a very common reminder that you're only as good as your last mistake. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of like this. Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. It is. And so I really can't believe I left this out in that dialogue because this would have fit in perfectly. Yes, exactly. That's what it is. Mm-hmm. You're only as good as your last mistake. And so when you think of different ways we can apply this, right? When I think back at when I was a student in middle school or high school, you know, students are given numbers, right? That's kind of cruel if you think about it. I mean, at the time, I thought that was perfectly normal, but when I think about it now, it's very cruel. And it's all about grades, right? It's all about the grades, really nothing else. So when you could actually use this expression to talk about that, you can say, you know, when I was in high school, nothing else mattered. You were only as good as your grades. When I was in high school, nothing else mattered. You were only as good as your grades. And so it means that your grades basically represented who you were. Like there was no other component, no other aspect really mattered. You were only as good as your grades. Okay? So I guess this is something that we can say using this phrase. Okay? This expression itself is it's used almost entirely in negative contexts, sure. How about when it comes to like you know, being a good parent, or being a good mother, or being a good father. I mean, you can definitely find ways to use this expression to talk about how, you know, at the end of the day, you know, it's this that ultimately really matters over anything else, right? You're only as good as your appearance. Oh, yes, very good. This makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Your last grades? It depends on the situation, but you are only as good as your friends. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. This actually reminds me of another. It's actually, I don't know if it's an expression, but I heard someone say this. I think this is a quote from someone. Show me your friends, and I'll show you who you are. Kind of scary, huh? Show me your friends, and I'll show you who you are. No friend. No friend. You have no friends. So another way that we can use to talk about this is you're only as good as the people you surround yourself with. Okay? You're only as good as the people you surround yourself with. So I guess this is another way of saying you're only as good as your friends, but not just friends, but speaking a little more broadly, okay? Speaking a little more broadly, you can say you're only as good as the people you surround yourself with. Oh yeah, this is this makes a lot of sense too, right? You are the average of the 5 closest people to you. Whew, that is pretty scary, right? Average. That's a scary word. You are the average of the 5 closest people to you. So basically, this is all pretty much talking about the same thing. So anyway, I'd like you to remember this because, again, it's a cruel world we live in, right? And especially if you are either famous or you're famous for any reason. Like, I don't know, maybe you're a star, maybe you're just super rich, maybe you own, I don't know, a very prominent company or something like that. Maybe you are in a position of power, right? And for those people, it's not easy, right? Because they're only as good as their last mistake. It tends to be, that's what tends to happen, right? That's what tends to happen. Okay, so this and this is another reminder how much English speakers like to refer to. They really like to use comparisons in their language. They like to make comparisons when they're describing something. And this is another one of those cases. Okay. All right. Next. I was actually really I thought it was very interesting that there's a very similar idiom in English and in Korean that mean the same thing. So there's an idiom that perfectly matches between English and Korean, and that is 지푸라기라도 잡다? 잡다? Is that how you use the idiom? 지푸라기를 잡다? Okay. And it's really interesting because in English, they have the exact same idiom. It's grasp at straws. Grasp at straws. Grasp at straws. So this, it's just in this case it's like a one-to-one equivalent. They mean exactly the same thing. Of course, it would be nice for you to start imagining how you would actually use this, okay? So I think in Korean we often use it like 지푸라기라도 잡는 심정으로 어떻게 했다, right? So in English they usually use it like this. For example, Right, kind of like this. So he knew it was unlikely to work, but he was grasping at straws. Right. So it was unlikely. I'm just going to use that example. It was unlikely to work, but I really had no other option, and I was pretty much grasping at straws at that point. So something like this. It was unlikely to work, but I really had no other option, and I was pretty much grasping at straws at that point. Okay. So to be grasping at straws, grasp at straws. It's interesting to see how in some very rare cases, especially when it comes to an idiom. You know, idiom, usually it's really hard to match idioms, but in this case, it perfectly matches. I sold everything. Okay. So actually, I like this context because I have prepared another an additional few expressions that are similar to this but are used in other contexts like this one. Okay. I think one of the most common ones is in a last-ditch effort. In a last-ditch effort. Have you guys heard of this one? In a last-ditch effort. In a last-ditch effort. Yeah. So this is like, you know, it was like the last resort. It's similar to saying as a last resort. In a last-ditch effort means to, like, it's like it was the last thing you could do. In a last-ditch effort. So like in Nanan's case, you know, the stocks were just plummeting, and I just started selling everything in a last-ditch effort, right? Stock prices started plummeting, and I just, in a last-ditch effort, I just started selling everything I had. In a last-ditch effort, I just started selling everything I had. So this is kind of different from grasping at straws, because when you say grasping at straws, you're not even sure what's going to work. You're just doing everything you can, and you're just hoping that something would work, right? But in this case, it was like the last option you had, and it wasn't very hopeful, but in a last-ditch effort. Have you heard of pull a hair Have you heard of pull a Hail Mary? To pull a Hail Mary? To pull a Hail Mary. So at this point, at this point you're almost like praying. It's similar to saying to do something in a last-ditch effort. Is very similar to pull a Hail Mary. This is not really an idiom. In a last-ditch effort is just kind of an expression. Pulling a Hail Mary is what you do in a last-ditch effort. This is just another thing that sometimes people say. Okay? For example, like, listen, I'm at a dead end here. But I'm hoping to pull one last Hail Mary. but you have to help me. Okay, so this, I don't know. For example, okay, listen, I'm at a dead end, but I'm hoping to pull one last Hail Mary, but you have to help me. Okay. Yes, actually, I didn't know this, but as I was preparing for today's lesson, I actually found out that it came from American football. I had no idea it came from American football. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. So let's say that someone is at a dead end. Like they have no more options. There's nothing else they could do, and the only escape that they can maybe have is by studying English and maybe moving abroad. I don't know. I don't know what kind of situation that is, but it could be one, right? So you can say, I'm studying English to pull a Hail Mary. Or you can say, in a last-ditch effort, I'm studying English, so maybe I can find a job abroad. Oh, wait. There's another expression. Why didn't I think of this before? Speaking of grasping at straws, there's a expression that's kind of similar, but it sounds similar to this, but it's actually more similar to this. To this, okay? So have you guys heard of scrape the bottom of the barrel? Have you guys heard of this? Scrape the bottom of the barrel? I mean, imagine it and you'll know what it means. Scrape the bottom of the barrel. Yeah. Scraping the bottom of the barrel. Actually, speaking of scraping the bottom of the barrel, it kind of reminded me of, I think several streams ago, one of our viewers in the chat, I don't know, some of you guys probably remember, but we had someone who was working as a social worker, as a civil service worker in Australia. Do you guys remember? I don't know if it was a he or a she, but the person was currently working as a civil service worker in Australia. And I asked how they became, because they're Korean. They were Korean and they had Korean nationality. So how the hell did they manage to find a job as a civil service worker? And what the person told, I still remember this, is that the Australian government was having trouble finding their own people who wanted to work for the government. You see what I mean? Yeah. So they were resorting to foreigners. And so, okay, so maybe that's not exactly scraping the bottom of the barrel, but you see what I'm trying to say, right? So that's not really grasping at straws. And it's not exactly in a last-ditch effort, because that's not like the last thing they could do, hoping for the best. No, it's just resorting to something that is not ideal. Foreigners may not be the most qualified people. They may not be the ideal candidates, but what else are they going to do, right? So they scrape the bottom of the barrel, and they're actually turning to, right? They decide to turn to the foreign community. We've learned about this expression, right? Turn to. So it's another way to look at that. Anyway. All right. So again, because your options are very limited as far as the best solutions go, like you just can't afford the best solutions, and so you turn to less qualified or less ideal solutions, and when that becomes a bit extreme, you start to scrape the bottom of the barrel. Similar, but it's not as devastating, or they're not as desperate as grasping at straws is expressing the desperation, right? You're just trying to survive, right? Scraping the bottom of the barrel, it means you're running out of your resource, and so you go to the bottom of the barrel. It's not ideal. It's not the most qualified, but that's all you got. 사람이 부족해서 있는 직원들 엄청 굴리는. Yes. Yeah. Right. Right. So again, grasping at straws is you're expressing the desperation, right? You're just completely out of options, and you're just doing everything and anything and hoping for the best. Hoping for the best. Just doing everything and anything, hoping for the best. So in a last-ditch effort is like a last resort, right? Like the final thing. And that's very similar to pulling a Hail Mary. Okay. All right, we're done with that. After she was fired, she started maybe she started right, so she started doing something else in a last-ditch effort, right? Okay. I wonder, should we cover that? Okay, so here's an easy one. I'll give you an easy one. I think the closest expression in Korean is 선수치다. I think it's the closest expression. I may be wrong, but yeah. JC, you're very close. There's a small error. There's a small error. Hit the athlete. That's clever. That's funny, young game. Hit the athlete. Let's say we worked as fast as we could, but they beat us to it. We worked as fast as we could, but they beat us to it. So I think beat someone to something is not always exactly the same as 선수치다. I think 선수치다 has some slightly different usage depending on the context, but I think they're very similar. beat us to it. 우리가 선수 치면 돼. 우리가 선수 치면 돼. Yeah. We'll just beat them to it. We'll just beat them to it. Beat someone to, you see this to it? This is almost fixed. Just because it's it doesn't mean that you can just replace this with other things. It's usually fixed like this. You could use other pronouns here, like beat her to it, beat me to it. Oh, you beat me to it. Hey, I'm going to beat you to it. It's usually, the beat to it is almost fixed. Okay? You should not think about replacing this with something else. It's just fixed. Beat someone to something. You can replace this part here. Okay? So, yeah. This is almost, it's fixed. So consider this fixed, but you can say beat her, beat them, beat us. Okay. Okay, that was an easy one. I think maybe we've covered this in the past. 나타내다. 보여주다. 그들이 어떤 사람들인지를 잘 보여주는 것 같다. Yes, you can say show, but if I were saying this, I would use say. I would use say. Not all in all cases, but I want to show you how to use say, okay? I think it says a lot about who they are or what kind of people they are. It says a lot. It says a lot. And so, let's say that, now you can use this as a response. You can say, let's say that A says, it could be anything. So let's say you want to like someone says something and you want to respond, but you could respond by says, well, that says a lot. And when you say this, well, that says a lot, as a response to someone, you're saying that you can already learn a lot of things just from that. Okay? Yeah. And yeah, right. 많은 것을 보여주는. Right. So in a similar way, you can also hear some native speakers saying this. That doesn't say much. It tells a lot. Yeah, you could say tells a lot. But when it comes to this, 나타내다, 보여주다, this is kind of hard, but they also say it's telling. It's very telling. And when you say that it's telling or it's very telling, it's similar to this. It means that it says a lot about something. It means that 많은 것을 나타낸다. 많은 것을 보여준다. It's very telling. So that doesn't say much, or that's not saying much. It says a lot. We've covered. Yeah, I think we've covered it before. So when you say that doesn't say much or that's not saying much, it means 뭐 it's like saying 뭐 그렇다고 해서 뭐 그게 뭐 큰 뭐 별뜻 뭐 별거 없네. It's kind of like that. Yeah. Like what June is saying. Yeah. That speaks volumes. Yeah. It's similar. Similar. Very similar concept. Very similar concept. Yes. Oh, and we forgot to talk about this is a very easy one, but very, very, very useful every day. I'm sure a lot of you guys know, so I'm just going to show you the expression that I'm talking about, and you guys just show me how to use it, okay? How do you use last minute? Show me last minute. How do you use last minute? This is so commonly used on a daily basis, so I want you to show me how do we use last minute. Sorry for the last minute change. Okay, very good. It was last minute. I put it off until the last minute. We changed our plans last minute. He called it off last minute. We save it. Okay, all right. I think one of the most common ways this is used, I mean, there are so many ways, obviously, but one of the very, very common ways that I'm not seeing here is this. I know this is very last minute. So when you want to apologize for not giving them any time or any room to prepare for something, and maybe you have to ask for a favor, maybe you have to give them something to do, and when you do that, this is a very nice thing to say. This is something that people say often when they haven't given them a lot of time to prepare for something. You say, I know this is very last minute, but could you do this for me? Could you do that for me? But could you take my shift tomorrow? Because I really have to, I don't know, take my grandma to the hospital or something like that. So this is just a very useful thing to say. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, one last one. This is easy too. 어떤 일이 그 지경까지 가지 않길 바라자. Or it could be like, I mean, there are many variations, right? Obviously. It could be this. Let's hope okay. So when you want to, okay, so let's say that what does this mean? Let's hope that doesn't happen. What does this mean? What does this mean? Yes, light green name, you are correct. 이거죠? Let's hope it doesn't come to that. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. Now, let's hope that doesn't happen, and let's hope it doesn't come to that are kind of different. So this is talking about a single incident, right? Let's hope 그런 일이 없기를 바라자, right? Let's hope that doesn't happen. But when you're talking about a situation or a problem escalating to a more severe level, you see what I mean? Let's hope that doesn't happen. You're talking about let's hope this this thing doesn't happen, right? But when you're saying, let's hope it doesn't come to that, let's hope that the situation doesn't escalate. Does that make sense? Let's hope it doesn't escalate to a more serious level. Okay? So let's hope it doesn't come to that. Or if you want to say this, you can obviously say, I'm just hoping it doesn't come to that. Right. Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, you could say, for example, let's hope things don't get that bad. Of course, you can say that, but it's kind of hard to say which is more common. But this itself is just, when you just look at this phrase itself, it's just a very, very commonly used expression. Okay. come을 get로 바꿔도 되냐고요? You could, but I highly suggest that you do not, because it's almost always come. I've never heard let's hope it doesn't get to that. I've never heard it like that. I've always heard it used with come. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. Okay. It doesn't get to that point. You again, you could say it like that, but if you want to say this, I recommend this. As always, there are many ways to say the same thing, but there's usually one that's more commonly used than others. Okay, and I don't want you to spend too much time trying to compare similar expressions and trying to figure out which is better. It really depends on the context and the situation. Okay. Okay, that's it. That's it today. That is it. He is the only one who can do this, but you can emphasize that even further by saying, if anyone can do this, it's him. I think Jeff should go talk to him, because let's face it, if anyone can change Mr. Lee's mind, it's Jeff. If Mr. Lee will listen to anyone, it's Jeff. Jasmine is the only one of us who has any experience with this sort of stuff, so if anyone can figure out, it's her. If there's anything I hate more than Mondays, it's a rainy Monday. Let's see. So, if AI is good for anything, if AI is good for anything, okay, that means AI may not be the best thing. It may not be good at everything, but it could do this. Right? So, if AI is good for anything. So, I may not be the best brother. I may not have treated you like the kind of brother that you deserve. But, hey, at least I can do something like this. Hey, if a brother is good for anything, right? 잘못 본 줄 알았다니까. 내가 잘못 본 줄 알았어. 잘못 들은 줄 알았어. I did a double take. I had to do a double take. It made me do a double take. Okay? You see something, what the hell is that? It's a double take. Okay? So maybe you read an article. Maybe you read the title of an article. You woke up in the morning, you opened your app and you checked like the first title that caught your eye, and it was something that you were not expecting like at all, right? And you do a double take. It could make you do a double take, right? Okay, so and this expression is it's usually used in when you're talking about like the limitation of what something could be or what someone could be, right? And this was, I think, the first example that I used. You're only as good as your last mistake. I think it's similar when it comes to like actors and actresses, and even directors. Like in this industry, in that industry, a director is only as good as their last movie. For example, okay? So let's say that a director came out with a movie and it flopped. It didn't do very well. It didn't have very good ratings. The response was meh. And let's say that the director is having a hard time retaining their reputation, to regain their momentum and to kind of bounce back and start making good movies again. Because of maybe no matter what the director does, just people are not responding very positively. And in that kind of case, you might say, well, nowadays, like, a director is only as good as their last movie. Okay, so when I was in high school, nothing else mattered. You were only as good as your last grades. This is not very important. You're only as good as the people you surround yourself with. I think this is probably, like a quote that people like to remind themselves of. And then we moved on to grasp at straws, which is surprisingly a very similar idiom to the one that we use in Korean, right? So remember, this is talking about desperation. This is a direct reference to the desperation that someone is experiencing, and so they're trying anything and everything. And when they are doing everything and anything and just hoping something works, and so they're desperate, right? They're in a desperate situation and they're grasping at straws. Scrape the bottom of the barrel is when you're out of resource, so you don't have like the best tools or the best solutions or the best people, the most qualified and the most ideal. You don't have the best tools, and so you just work with what you have. You just make do with what you have. Something that's less ideal, something is not as qualified, and so at that point you can say that you're scraping the bottom of the barrel. Okay. It was that's an interesting one. Is that a commonly used expression? Okay, so grasping at straws again. So when you say that I was pretty much grasping at straws at that point, it doesn't mean that you did something. You're just expressing that you were desperate. You were in a desperate state, and so you're just saying that by saying that you were grasping at straws. So in a last-ditch effort means that you chose to do something as a last resort. Because you had run out of options, and in a last ditch effort. So, in an effort to save yourself, save whatever you had left, in a last ditch effort. Okay, so I just started selling everything I had. To pulling a Hail Mary is usually you have a goal in mind. Okay, you have a goal in mind and you pull a Hail Mary. And that is right. It's very similar to doing something in a last-ditch effort. Very, very similar. Okay, right. 최후의 수단으로. Okay, so to beat someone to something. To beat someone to something. Very straightforward. Kind of, it might feel kind of weird because of the use of the pronoun at the end. But this is just one of those expressions that you just try to remember and use it at the right time, right? So we'll just beat. Don't worry, we'll beat them to it. So using say to talk about something that's not explicitly, told or shown or said, but something that is implicitly referred to, right? And so I think it says a lot about who they are. It's not actually saying anything, but it's kind of, in a subtle way, indirectly, okay? Indirectly showing or indicating what kind of people they are. So maybe they did something, maybe they said something, and through that, we might learn we might have some insight as to what kind of people they are. So in those cases, we might say that says a lot about who they are. That reminds me, I came across these two guys. This was maybe a couple of years back, and they were both obviously they were both very a lot older than I was. I think they were maybe in their late 50s, maybe moving on to their 60s. They looked like the kind of people who would have grandchildren by then. Anyway. And so, I was with my dogs, and one of the guys started talking about all the dogs that he used to have, like when he was young. And this other guy, right? And this other guy said, you know what this other guy said? He suddenly stopped his friend, and he said, 옛날 얘기는 할 필요가 없어. That's what he said. 옛날 얘기는 할 필요가 없어. And that really impressed me. I did not expect someone at his age to say something like that, because old people they love to talk. They have a lot of stories, and they love to talk about what kind of life they had, who they were, the people they were with, and all that. And so right after I heard that, I immediately felt that this is the kind of person that is good. He's an adapter. He adapts very well with the ever changing world, right? And so it said a lot about like his character and what kind of person he was. And so anyway, so actually, I didn't really mind. I actually found it kind of interesting. I mean, the guy was, going on about like how he had like a whole. I don't know. He was maybe he was exaggerating, but he was saying that he had like 20 dogs at one point, and anyway. Okay. Last minute. It's a very simple expression, but it's very, very useful because a lot of things happen at the very last minute, right? So I know, I'm sorry, but I know this is very last minute, but I really need this done. I really need to do this. Could you do this for me? And so on and so forth. Let's hope that doesn't happen. Is talking about something that, it's like something that just happens, right? It's not something that progresses, but let's hope that it doesn't come to that. Is talking about how something might get worse, something escalates, something progresses and becomes something more serious, right? So let's hope it doesn't come to that. All right, that's it. That is it. That is it. Okay, that's all I got for you today. I didn't really feel like going through a dialogue, although now that I've gone through these expressions, I feel like going through a dialogue is actually easier. Anyway, so that's pretty much it today. I hope you all have a great rest of your evening, and I don't know exactly what's going to happen tomorrow. Like I said, Amber has surgery, and it's going to take up pretty much all of tomorrow morning and all of the afternoon, and I'm not exactly sure what time I'll be getting back home because he finishes his surgery at around 6. Things tend to get delayed, right? And so I'm thinking I'll probably be back home around 7 or maybe even 8-ish. So we'll see what happens. I will definitely try to stream over on the Toddler channel, but let's see what happens, okay? Alright. Okay. Alright. Have a great rest of your evening, and see you guys soon. See you guys real soon.
We can take this ride wherever it goes. As long as you're with me, I feel at home. Can you tell me why? 'Cause I wanna know. As long as you're with me, I feel at home. Yeah, I wave goodbye to my whole life. Been reaching for some